Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another videos done the paid request. It's time for Corey. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics or reviews, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Hellraiser 4 Bloodline, the Reconstruction Workprint. Now, Hellraiser 4 is one of those movies where I remember when I first saw it, I wasn't really a fan of it. As time has gone on, I can appreciate what it was trying to do, and it definitely has a little bit more ambition compared to a lot of the sequels afterward. And overall, I can say I don't mind it if I watch it nowadays. Now, the story was that this was made for Dimension Films. They had the rights to Hellraiser, and the Weinsteins were producing it. And the Weinsteins had a history of not only fucking with girls and getting dicks in women's mouths for jobs, but they would really come in and fuck around with a lot of movies and have the power to do this, do that, and now a lot of directors will speak up on that. This is another one of those cases. I know they fucked around with the film Cursed, a little bit on the film Mimic with Guillermo del Toro. A lot of movies they did that with. So in this one, I believe Kevin Yeager was directing it. He was an effects guy, worked on Child's Play films among other stuff as an effects guy. He directed the film. The studio Weinsteins were not fans of it. They wanted changes. They wanted additional photography shot. Tim Yeager didn't really want to do it, but at the same time, he's like, maybe he'll do it, but give him some time because he just got done making the film and it's a very tough shoot. I think even Doug Bradley said it was the shoot from hell. So, like, maybe give me some time to recuperate. No. So instead, they got Joe Chappelle to film some scenes. And Joe Chappelle was one of those guys that he seemed like just wanting to have a job. Because there's a Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I forget what interview it was. Like, there was an interview from one of the actors saying that Joe Chappelle, he didn't give a shit. He was just doing this to hopefully get bigger projects for the Weinsteins, that, he stuck up to the Weinsteins and they would get more lucrative projects. He also directed the film Phantoms. So this is a guy that definitely was trying to have a big deal with Dimension Films. So they got him to shoot additional photography. They rearranged the film, added some stuff. Kevin Yeager said, this isn't really my movie anymore, so that's why it has the Alan Smithy moniker as a director. So this is years ago, this guy made this reconstruction workprint using stuff from the workprint, stuff from the theatrical film. He even added stuff of its own in there. I just to try to make it as close to possible as what the intended purpose was. I know there's a Hellraiser 4 release out that also has the workprint in it. Not this, but it has the workprint in it. I forget who released it. And I didn't mind watching this, but to be perfectly honest, I would probably say I prefer watching the theatrical cut more. I know this fine lines the details in terms of, like, Angelique fleshes her character out a little bit more. But even then, like, I still don't think it's a great, awesome movie. I still think it's a flawed film. So if I'm going to watch a flawed film, I'd rather watch the much shorter movie with a bit of a happier ending. And I like the future setting, and that's brought in earlier, and that's used as a kind of the wraparound. That's actually my favorite part of the movie. As much people make fun of, oh, it's Hellraiser Space, that's actually my favorite part of the movie. Maybe because that's just much more my cup of tea, the future stuff. But the way is here, all that future, it's all linear. It's not we start off in the future and then the guy tells a story and then we see all this backstory. No, it's all saved for the third act of the film. And we see this peasant girl killed, a demon summoned, and it's Angelique. I think that might have been different from the theatrical. I can't remember the theatrical in detail, so the comparisons between the two, I'll be hard pressed to tell you. But hell, I mean, there are websites that if you type in Hellraiser 4 Workprint comparison, they'll tell you. So you have this toy maker that made the limited configuration, delivers. This scene I remember that it wasn't a theatrical cut. This was different, where you have these rich men using the limited configuration with Angelique, kind of like strip poker. Which it just makes sense because Angelique is much more about seductive qualities, seducting men to lowering their guard. So again, people are using limited configuration, and then she takes off another piece of clothing. Until finally the men get trapped, and they're trapped to the chairs, and there's a shot of her stomach blowing up. And these effect shots were not finished, so there's text that shows these effects that would be put in, that they would be burned, and there would be skinned alive, but we can't see it because that stuff is going to be done later. Which, I mean, I know it's a work print, but you think that's important stuff you'd want to do, make sure it be done by the time you even show the work print? Because if that would be makeup effects, then Kevin Yeager's a makeup effects guy, so you know that's going to be important for an audience, so why that wasn't done ahead of time, I don't know. Unless what they were going to use other types of effects on it, I don't know. So the toy maker who made the limited configuration sees this, he gets horrified, and he says, oh my god, I made something that brought about demons, let me try to make a machine that will destroy them. And then you have some added scenes in, and the guy, I guess there were scenes that, I don't know, either never shot or were fucked up beyond repair. So the guy who did the reconstruction Workprint, I don't know which video game he played or something like that, but it's a very animation, very low-key animation. It looks like I can't remember which video game it would be, where it's two people talking, one's supposed to be the toy maker, one's supposed to be Angelique, and it's Angelique trying to seduce the toy maker. It visits him. It kind of warns him about stuff. Even makes him an offer. Hey, come work for me, all that stuff. So then one thing leads to another. Oh, there's another bit where this guy that he visited, who's like in the theatrical, he's doing kind of the corner business where he's opened up a body. And he's the one that mentions the toy maker. Well, you made a machine that brought demons up. How about a machine that destroys it? I guess that guy went somewhere, and then he's in the woods, and there's another guy with all these like freaks around in the woods, and they grab the guy, and then he's tied up, and he sees a portal ready for the demons to come kill him. That also was done in this sort of old video game style. I don't know how else to describe it. And then the guy did his own voice for it. I appreciate the ambition. I appreciate the extra work into trying to make that happen. That definitely shows some passion on the guy who made and uploaded this. It is on YouTube, but it is uploaded in parts, about 9 or so parts. But yeah, I would say if you're a fan of Hellraiser 4, sure, give it a look. It is a bit longer. It does flesh out Angelique and some characters a bit more. So the Tormentor, one thing leads to another, Tormentor dies, and they cut to the end of Hellraiser 3. The reason it does that is it shows the end of Hellraiser 3, and it shows where she buried the box and the foundation. Just, if you remember at the end of Hellraiser 3, then it cut to many years later, and then there's like a building that looks like the Lament Confederation, and you're wondering what the fuck was that about. Well, this guy built it, who's an ancestor of the Toymaker. And so it's 1996, and you have... I should mention that the guy who plays the lead is Bruce Ramsey. Bruce Ramsey, I don't know if I would call him giving a great performance in this. I mean, it's definitely... I don't know how to put it. It just felt a bit off or stiff, and the incarnations. Like on one hand, I didn't mind him in the movie, but at the same time, I can't say, oh, that was a good performance. I don't know how else to put it. Just felt a bit, I don't know if just stiff or I can't describe his acting performance. But at the same time, I didn't hate him either. But it was also nice to see in the 1996 one, because it was in the theatrical as well, that his wife is played by Kim Myers, who was in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. She was one of the leads in that movie. So it was nice to see her in another film, let alone another horror film. Where's Jesse, Lisa? Where's Jesse? Maybe this is what happened, after the bus went away and Jesse or someone died, she survived, decided to move here and marry this guy, change her name. So Angelique hears about the toy maker's ancestors here in New York, goes to New York. This guy's an architect. Well, at least another Pinhead gets brought into the picture. Him and Angelique have a little bit of friction, because Pinhead is much more about pain, suffering. Hell is more ordered and less amusing, while Angelique is from a different era. Now, one thing I didn't like, I guess, is the architect, when he dreams, he just keeps dreaming of random bits from other Hellraiser movies. I don't know why. Like, at one point he dreams, and he dreams a bit of Hellraiser 2 and Kirsty. Where he's dreaming of Kirsty screaming in hell and telling the Cenobites, I didn't open the box this time, and the Cenobites, warning and fucking with Kirsty. And also he dreams about the mute girl in Hellbound Hellraiser 2, when she went to the area with all those mirrors and the operation going on. And why is he dreaming all this? I mean, you think his dreams would be about his ancestor and Angelique. Like, that would make more sense, but why is he just dreaming? I'm going to dream up Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Maybe it's his favorite Hellraiser film too, just like mine, so I didn't understand the reason for that. You do have the same death scene in the theatrical of the two guards. Doug Bradley does find what he has. I am pain. Kills the two guards where he merges their heads together. It's trying to explain a little bit more Angelique's plan and what she wants, and trying to talk with this architect guy of how what she wants compared to what Pinhead wants. How she's tired of, she wants power over those that want to dominate her. Pinhead's like, you know what, I'm going to kidnap this son, and you don't fulfill building this thing, because if you build it right, it's going to be a bigger box, and we won't have to wait to open the door. This could be the ultimate doorway to open up hell to the world. Do it or your son's dead. But even then, I still don't understand how it works, because it seems like the guy is overloading the place. Then it stops, and then nothing happens for a good few minutes. Long enough for him to get killed and get decapitated. While Kim Myers gets to her son. And then there's an explosion. And Pinhead screaming. So I'm like, okay, did he overload something? But then Pinhead cuts the guy's head off, and then things get fucked up. Like, I didn't understand the flow of that whole scene. The Workprint didn't help better. And the thing is, like, this reconstruction Workprint, I didn't see some stuff that remarkably different. Like, all I saw was, okay, they took all the future scenes, they saved for the very end of the film. A few added scenes more to flesh out Angelique, to be fair. Okay, I'll give you that. There's no extra death scenes. Yeah, some... it just... Okay, in the space station 2127, there's an added scene where another ancestor, he's talking to a holographic priest. But to be perfectly honest, I didn't think the conversation was that I mean, it's pretty much him reiterating his goal. Which he already does that to the soldier who sadly is named Rimmer. Because nowadays, if you think of Rimmer, or Rimming, it's called Kiss My Ass. But I mean, there are people named Rimmer. I'm sure it's just that there's going to be immature people like me going to be making a lot of jokes at their expense. But I just, like, the stuff added in there, I didn't really care about. Just the thing, like I said, Bruce Ramsey's performance is still this awkward, kind of stiff acting, where on one end I didn't mind him, but the other end, I don't think he was like a great performance. It felt like his type of role would have been maybe better played by Julian Sands, may he rest in peace, or Bruce Payne. It's like they wanted Julian Sands or Bruce Payne, they couldn't get either, so they got Bruce Ramsey to kind of do that type of acting, but I think those guys would have done a lot better with the role. Angelique, by this in the 1996 portion, was pulled into hell, so now she's working for Pinhead, and the Pinheads, they all get in the space station. The soldiers grab Bruce Ramsey. She's kind of talking to this guy over and over again about what's going on. And then, the soldiers get killed out one by one, just like in the theatrical. One gets their face peeled off. One gets stopped in glass and his head decapitated. Some decent effects in there. One's just his face stretched out by the guards from the 1996 portion. And then the ending is different in this one, where the lead guy, he dies. Where he sets up a hologram, but then at the same time, he is there. Pinhead puts a chain through him. He pulls towards Pinhead. They're facing each other, and Bruce Ramsey goes, "Welcome to Oblivion." And then the whole space station does its thing, and then boom, done. I liked it better in the theatrical cut. It makes the line make more sense when him and the female soldier are talking, and when he turns away, he's like, "I'm not that crazy." It also makes the holograms more useful. Like, okay, yeah, he tricked their ass. Bye, sucker. I'm on a space station. I'm on a ship. Fuck off. And then flies away. I actually think that's a better ending. It makes the lead character much more smart. I know the whole point is that, well, he's got to sacrifice himself. He's got to kill the Bloodline, which is him. But it's more. I don't think that was needed. I know it's more dramatic to do it that way, but I don't know. I liked it better that the guy outwitted Pinhead using holograms. It made it the use. Here's just the holograms wasted a little bit of time, and then the real him comes out. Here I like that. I liked it in the theatrical that he used the mirrors and hologram trick. And by the way, I'm on a space station. Goodbye, fucker. I thought that was much more satisfying. It made the lead much more smarter. And I don't know. It's just what I prefer. But that's what I'm gonna say. I like happy endings. And then the movie's over. It was interesting to watch. If you like Hellraiser 4, it's interesting to watch. I think most people will find it better. If you read the comment section, they'll say it's much better. Maybe, I mean, the story probably has less plot holes than the theatrical cut. That's fair on that level. Maybe if everything was finessed and fine-lined and the effects were done and all the scenes had been shot and maybe if it had kept the theatrical ending, which I prefer, maybe I could go, yep, you're right, this is a much better version. As is, I think they're both flawed versions, and I'll watch the shorter one with the happy ending, as flawed as it is. I think at this point where you kind of go, well, what do you want out of a Hellraiser film? Like, Hellraiser 3 had the idea of showing Pinhead and Cinnabite much, much more. And people say, well, that's not really Hellraiser. Although I like that film. This one tried to go a different route. Then the other ones, Pinhead definitely felt like a cameo in those movies. They felt like they were strips that were for a different movie, and then they shoehorned Hellraiser in. Which I think was the case for some of them. I would say Hellraiser 4 Bloodline is the last decent Hellraiser movie. I appreciate his ambition was trying to go in a different direction, trying to get a little bit more of the history of the Limited Confederation, this idea of the Bloodline throughout all these time periods. Yes, even the future setting, which, oh, Hellraiser space, how stupid is that? Well, again, I like that say. I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. Angelique, didn't mind that actress. Didn't mind her. She definitely bought her seductive demon. I like some of the makeup designs. I like the design of her in this future setting with sort of the brain revealed. It's the design of the two guards merged together. There's some decent makeup effects in it. The score using the reconstruction Workprint is very heavy in the the classic Hellraiser scores of the past. Even in this one, it maybe would have been more interesting to see more of Pinhead and Angelique butting heads with each other, even more of their different outlook on hell. It's like a little bit more in this, but I would have liked that even more showcased. But hey, I'm the type of guy that I would have been fine if the entire film was in the future on the space station. I actually would have liked that. And then, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's on YouTube for those interested in watching it. Thanks once again, Corey, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.